what China has recently done. On October 9th, China, the world's largest producer of rare earths, expanded the scope of rare earth export controls. Can you break down this latest set of export controls for us? How are these measures any different from what we have seen in the past? And through these new controls, what message is Beijing trying to convey to Washington, especially since these export controls come just weeks ahead of the planned Trump Xi meeting in South Korea for later this month?
Right. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. These export controls are clearly, I mean, it has escalated with the tariffs, but it is clearly a retaliation to the semiconductor controls that US has imposed. And it is very strategically timing, like you mentioned, just weeks before the two presidents are supposed to meet, because this puts critical minerals on the leverage table. Now, what these export controls are is that, I mean, I'm going to just to put to context, I'm going to go a little bit back in time and talk about what happened earlier this year. So, when the tariff war started escalating in April, China decided to put an export control on seven medium and heavy rare earths. Now, these heavy and medium rare earths are used in very small quantities in a, but are very critical applications. They're used everywhere in our daily lives. They're used in your speakers, in your phones, in your laptops, in your robots, but also in EVs, and have a strategic application in defense. Now, it was not a de facto ban, it is still not a de facto ban. It is just that anyone who's trying to export needed to apply for a license. Now, what happened in April is that after these export controls were imposed, neither of the parties were prepared for it, and there wasn't enough stockpile that was there that the producers have, because for the last 2 years the market has been severely oversupplied. Now, what happened is that no one was prepared and a lot of production was put to halt, because anyone who had to submit for a license had to wait for at least 45 to 60 days to get a license, and then only then they could export materials. Cut to chase, this there has been a lot of negotiations going on, and there has been a pause on the exports controls on paper, but on reality, on ground, things have been very different. The process has been the process has been blamed on bureaucratic lag, and things started getting better. And just now, before a few weeks before the presidents are supposed to meet, China has again come back with these export controls, saying that they've added more heavy rare earths to the list. But also this time there is going to be a license requirement for anyone who's trying to use any material that they're trying to re-import from China. So, say for example, some countries are taking in material, processing them, or making something out of them, and then re-exporting to some other companies, and they will also get affected. And even IP that is coming from China is going to get affected. Now, why this gets interesting is because IP, which is used for heavy rare earths, or a technology that is used for extraction of heavy rare earths, is very similar to this technology that is used to extract light rare earths. So even though technically it is not a ban, or not a restriction on all the rare earths, it transcends across everything and it spills across on everything. And then the end use applications of it are huge. But where things get interesting, or where things get strategic, is that a lot of these heavy rare earths are used in defense. The Tomahawk missiles, say for example, F-35s. Just an F-35 fighter jet, one of them, uses more than 400 kilograms of rare earths. A submarine uses 4.6 tons of rare earths. So, and they very clearly mentioned that this time, that even the last time and this time, the export restrictions are in place because they do not want to supply to any defense manufacturing organization. So any company who is manufacturing these missiles, these fighter jets, or linked to these, will be affected. There will be no supply. And why this is critical? Because 95% of these materials come from China. So basically, everyone is dependent on China for a standing army. And we're
Right.
days, if not weeks, away from a crisis.